Hello again, you're watching today on eNCA DSTV channel 403. Now, the Pretoria High Court has slammed the decision by Gauteng Economic Development MEC Tasneem Motara to dissolve the Growth and Development Agency's board. The court made the ruling on Thursday last week, stating that Motara did not have the shareholders' resolution to dissolve it, and it's now been reinstated. The agency assists the province with job creation and economic growth. Well, let's get the reaction now, and I'm speaking to the reinstated board chairperson, Dr. Sibongile Vilakazi. Doc, good afternoon. Welcome to today. Thank you very much for your time. Earlier, when I was telling our viewers that you're going to be coming, I said the suspended chairperson, but you are no longer suspended legally. Am I correct?
Yes, we've been reinstated, so I'm officially the chair. And thank you so much for inviting us for this.
The rest of the board members, some of them resigned. Yes. I think last time we spoke, you said some of them had resigned. What happens to them? Are they also reinstated, or because they've resigned, they're gone?
Well, the judgment is reinstating the dissolved board members.
Okay.
So when you've resigned, you are not dissolved.
Okay. So
you resigned.
How many are you who are dissolved?
8 board members were dissolved. Yeah.
How are you feeling about this ruling? Are you feeling vindicated?
Yes, quite relieved, because as we said the last time when we were here, we were clear that what had happened was incorrect, and that's why we then took it up to the courts for them to decide, and we are quite ecstatic that they have ruled in this way, because we were clear. I mean, we took this fight, if I may use that word, personally, in our personal capacity as board members.
No, I mean, you were gutted. Last time I spoke to you, you just could not believe that Tasneem Motara had acted in that way as the MEC, and you were convinced that she was flouting a number of governance rules.
Yes, we were convinced, and that's why we decided that let's take this on. I mean, under normal circumstances, professionals, you just walk away and you get on with your business of the day. There's much to lose. But we were quite convinced that we needed to do something about this. And
the relationship is rocky between you, the board, and Tasneem Motara, because she was insisting that she had done the right thing. Now she's lost in court, and the judgment was quite scathing against her in terms of her interfering in an operational matter, which is an HR issue, which was the appointment of the CEO. So how's the relationship going to be now?
Well, hopefully we will all be mature enough to see this as a blessing and an opportunity for us to all start over. Because the assumption from where I'm seated would be that somewhere along the line we didn't know better. And the judgment is giving us an opportunity to say this is how things should be done correctly, and then hopefully we'll take it with that spirit, and the relationship will be built based on that it's an opportunity for us to start over and do things correctly.
Do you think she might appeal the judgment?
She can try. She definitely can try, but it will be very difficult because it's an interim judgment, this one. The review process still needs to kick off. So
there's more legal process still coming?
Yes, so it was basically Part A and Part B. Part A was to say in the interim, because we know how court processes work, can take very long. By the time the court sits would have been most likely...
So the interim court order reinstates you before Part B begins?
Yeah. So it's basically saying that there is prima facie evidence that the decision may be wrong. Therefore, reinstate them until then the Part B gets reviewed.
Yeah. Just remind our viewers, where do you think she got it wrong, the MEC?
Possibly the legal advice that she received that
she could interfere with the appointment of a CEO?
Yes, that it's within her rights to do that, because the legislation says the MEC appoints, and it was an interpretation matter. And hence, when we were requesting a meeting with her, we were trying to clarify that there seems to be challenges with how we are interpreting how these things should be done. And the
meeting didn't happen?
It didn't happen. So if that meeting had happened, hopefully we would have found each other.
It's an interim court order, as you said, but it's a seminal judgment. I mean, it just talks, the agency plays a very important role, the Gauteng Growth and Development Agency, in the economy of the smallest province, but the biggest GDP contributor to the country, the 4th largest in Africa. So I mean, what do you think from where you're sitting as a chairperson of the agency, what this judgment will do for the others. Because the gambling boards, she also dissolved the gambling board for other reasons as well.
Yeah, and unfortunately the gambling board didn't take it on and take it under review. But now this is a judgment that indicates, it's a lesson for, I think, all other SOEs in the country, because now we've got case law. It can be cited, and politicians and professionals in the space now have a guiding framework on how these institutions should be governed.
Yeah, one would have thought an MEC would understand that she's a political head, she's got policy oversight and stuff, but not operational recruitment issues.
Well, you would think that. That's what we had thought, and that's why, because we were so convinced that it was incorrect, her involvement in the process was incorrect, and that's why we took it on.
Yeah. Do you have any hypothesis why she behaved like this?
Well, she can only speak for herself and tell us why she...
Have you met her since the interim court
Not yet. Hopefully we'll be meeting soon, because we have to continue with the work that needs to be done.
When are you convening the first board meeting of the reinstated board?
So this morning, actually, we had our first special meeting to say what now, where do we go from here, and how do we go from here? Because Q4, we didn't sit. What does that mean, you know, for the governance of the organization going forward? Because the judgment is quite specific. We are reinstated as from the 24th of March. So we've discussed all of that and how we'll be moving forward.
So you've got a plan now of action.
Yeah, of how we're moving forward. I'm actually I'm quite happy for the organization, because now we can bring back the stability that it requires.
Who's the CEO?
At the moment, it's an acting CEO.
Acting CEO. So Tasneem never even got to, the MEC never even, Tasneem Motara got to appoint her preferred candidate.
Well, she can't. She couldn't have. Although the process started, we saw it in the newspapers that she was starting that process, but obviously now it has to be halted.
Yeah, Doc, just very briefly as we conclude, just remind our viewers, I mean, the agency, you are responsible for a lot of money that the agency has to oversee its implementation in terms of the development and growth of this province. How much are we talking about?
We're talking billions, because we raise funds, investors come into the province and pledge to bring funds for a specific project. So it's billions. Right now we are looking after the Lansera project, which is the smart city project, that if we get it right, the president will really shine. Because that was the one project that he felt it was a dream, that one day, as this country will have built a smart city, and we are responsible for that, and it ranges to billions of money, of funds. And
that is why I guess you, as a chair, you wanted to ensure there's good governance, because investors will run away if they don't know that the monies they're putting into any agency, especially yours, the monies will be put to the correct use, and that things governance is primary. Of
course, and the jobs that we are meant to be creating. I think for me the biggest pain is that we have so many people who are looking for employment in this country, in this province in particular, that we are responsible for. So we have that responsibility and duty that we do things proper so that those jobs can be created.
Okay, I look forward to talking to you as soon as you've resumed your work, because the last quarter you did not meet. Now you have an action plan going forward, and it will be good to hear as well, after you've met Tasneem Motara, you as the board, the first meeting after all of this, and good luck.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. That's the reinstated Gauteng Growth and Development Agency Board Chairperson, Dr. Sibongile Vilakazi. She plus 7 other members were dissolved by Tasneem Motara, the MEC for Economic Development in Gauteng in March this year, have won an interim order in court, putting them back in their position. It's an important victory for good governance.